Hi, and welcome to the Hole in the Head Moto Storytime podcast. I'm Andy, and I have a lot of old motorcycles. I know it's been a minute since the last episodes. Sorry about that. I don't have any real excuse except that, well, life's gotten pretty lifey. That first season of the Storytime podcast was 3 episodes of scripted tales outlining some very life-size motorcycle adventures. And since then, I've begun a few times to spin the podcast back up, but something hasn't quite felt right. I've still got stories and some interviews that I want to share, but I'm not sure if the scripted audiobook format is appropriate at the moment. It's a lot of looking back and remembering, and frankly, more of an exercise in prose than adventuring. And any story I do have started with a chat. And in retrospect, the adventure was just the manifestation of a conversation that started it all off. And don't get me wrong, I love a good yarn, but things have been pretty weird lately. It's taken a pandemic full of isolation and social upheaval to remind us all that life is short, and we're not promised anything. So, like most of you, I've been reconnecting with people virtually and trying to stay out of my own head as much as possible. For most of my motoring adulthood, there have been a few guys who've either instigated or at least supported this ridiculous pursuit, and conversations with these guys often start around some dumb idea or shifting opinion, and they inevitably meander and evolve over a few more conversations into some dumb event that we've somehow committed ourselves to. For this season of Hole in the Head, I wanted to see if I could capture that evolution in real-ish time by setting aside some space every week with a guy I've known for nearly a decade now. My friend Blaine and I have been in the middle of a few nowheres, and we even used to do a podcast together in San Francisco called Safety Third. We've talked about doing another content project for a long time now, but again, life has been lifey. And honestly, I struggled with presenting these conversations because one, I value trust and confidence in my friendships, so it's strange to just open up to an audience what normally ranges from a intense heart-to-heart to shit-talking session. And as I've been lightly editing these sessions, there are some cringy bits, but I do think it's important that this is transparent and includes all the meanders and non sequiturs, because a few of them actually come to life. So, as I said, every adventure starts as a conversation. And when we started this project, I had no idea what it was going to be or where it would go. In fact, it's kinda scary because at the time of this recording, it's still evolving. But I hope you'll join us as Blaine and I talk shit and have some meandering heart-to-hearts about old cars and motorcycles, our families, and how they all fit in our lives. And please do forgive the audio for the first couple episodes as we were sorting out the technical bits of recording virtually. So let's see what happens. I hope you stick around. Please do enjoy Season 2 of the Hole in the Head Moto Storytime podcast. In this episode, Dirty Germans. It doesn't always have to be an adventure. And incremental manipulation. What are you doing?
Okay. It's my job every day to get up and check Craigslist,
Sure.
right?
Although they $5 an ad now.
I'm kind of glad for that, as long as people come back to it, because at least now you have people that want to sell their stuff. Because most people will call you back now, as opposed to before people would post it and then forget about you.
Yeah, that's true. It is a fine line because on one hand, the guy who posted it 6 times, nobody wants that. Whatever, that's the prime one to guy because nobody knows what it is or he wants to take a bath on it,
Right.
Yeah, so you check Craigslist every morning.
So I check Craigslist every morning. That's it used to be a hobby, now it's my job. And so about every 5th day I find something that I absolutely have to have, and then I'm in absolute agony and hell over not being able to execute that. But yet I keep repeating that. But I think I'm sort of destined to do that. That's only to give you the background on what has happened recently, which was I found a 2005 BMW X Challenge 650. Now, this is regarded as a shit bike. Guys hated it when it came out. It was overpriced. It was, had things that they hated about it. And of course, BMW guys are the wrong guys to sell dirt bikes to, because they can't possibly live with anything that's kind of that happens in the dirt bike world. They don't even like to get dirty, for God's sake. So anyway, I have to have one of these. And the first thing we have to talk about is that the only reason I have to have it is because it says BMW on it. Do you understand that?
Now I don't know what that is, but looking at it, it looks like, well, it just looks like a BMW badged Honda something or another,
It
CRF
could
or
be,
something.
yeah, it could be a KLR,
Yeah.
the Ford Taurus of motorcycles, which I hate, but it says BMW on it. And the thing is, it's probably not any better than the KLR, but the fact that it says BMW on it, and it's got a little bit of Italian, because it's leftover Husky stuff,
Okay.
it's got a little bit of, it's got an air shock on it, which it should not have. So the guys changed it, but anyway, so the first problem is that the only reason I really want to have this is because I want to go out riding with everybody else, and I want to have the only bike that says BMW on it. How wrong is that?
How wrong is that you want to do that?
That I would be willing to.
Okay.
How wrong is it that I'd be willing to buy what is commonly known as a shit bike, just so I can have that moment of saying I'm riding a BMW out here?
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, like, how grueling is whatever gonna be that this would be a failure?
Yeah,
You know what I
not
mean?
my.
Like,
Yeah, well, not in my world, because I mean I can write about anything out there. It doesn't really matter, and I don't necessarily need to have something more hardcore than this.
yeah.
I mean, other bikes in this category, KTM 690, which is I hate, just because it's everybody got KTMs. I loved KTMs when they were European and nobody had them.
Before they were cool.
Yeah, am I like one of those guys that used to like Seattle bands until they got popular?
That's literally what you just described. Yes.
Yeah.
Then I liked it, and then everybody started to get one, and it's like whatever.
And
so
they sold out, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, so item number one is what's wrong with me. I feel like I want to buy this shit bike, but the only reason I want it is BMW. So I've got some internal questions and conflicts.
Sure.
Right. All right. So then the second issue is the guy's asking $5,000 for it. All right. It sold for 5,900 new.
Yeah. In what, like,
right?
2010?
In 2005.
Okay.
Okay. So the guy's way over. I mean, we're not even close on price wise, right?
Yeah.
But I've already decided to pay $5,000 for it if I want it.
Yeah.
All right. So that's wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not right. For the payoff being you're the BMW guy on the trail or whatever,
Well, that's what's so ironic, Andy, is because I hate BMW guys
who pay more than they should for a bike that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying. I guess ultimately the question is going to reveal itself is that I think I just would like to have some toys that are new.
Yeah. But does that reflect that your spending power has gone up, or does it just reflect your shifting interest?
I think it reflects my desperation.
Yeah.
Because I mean, these were not. I mean, I've always ridden frail motorcycles. I never cared about that. Guys would tell me, I used to have Husaberg dirt bikes, and these are these kind of used to be sort of these Swedish one-off wonders, not one-offs, but kind of exotic and lightweight, and made in, two Swedish guys made them in a garage, and they were, not dependable. You couldn't get parts for them, and the worse the stories got about them, the more I had to have it.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be the one guy that said, "Hey, we're riding out here in the middle of Nevada," and everybody else goes, "You have to ride a Honda out here, or you won't make it out." And I just go, "Fuck you! I'm riding a Husaberg, and I'm going to rebuild it along the way," And
yeah.
But somehow I wanted to always have what was perceived to be as not exotic if I could afford it, and if not exotic, at least uncommon.
Well, but yeah, and I think that there's a social aspect of that I mean, to be fair, been pretty pervasive. Like, this isn't a unique situation where it's like, yeah, you could get a what is it, KLM or KTM. Right. Yeah, that's fine. You can just throw $6,000 at it and have yourself a good little dirt bike. Or, and I get shit for this too, because a buddy of mine would say, "Oh, I want a Chevy Nova. Fuck yeah, it was turbo, there's a big pipe." It's like, well, yeah. Well, you could just buy that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, it's not any different when you had your 124 Fiat Spider, right? Is that a 124? Is that right? Fiat 124?
The first one, yeah. The first one, the blue
your
one.
Fiat Spider. So everybody knows if you want to drive a two-seater open top car around the country and not hate every minute of your time is that you should get a Miata. Everyone knows
Miata,
that,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But there's no way I could ever drive a Miata or be in a Miata or be friends with you if you had one.
Yeah.
So you go, okay, let's get this old Fiat that no one to date has been successful in driving those around.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, just because it's you and you have, a 10 millimeter wrench, you think you can do it. And I am totally won over by that. And I want that so desperately to be true.
Well, but the thing is, it is true. Like, there's nothing wrong, really. I mean, something might go sideways, but it's not anything you can't. To a certain
No.
year, it's like,
No, you forget. Well, I do the same thing. I think, well, I've proven that these can be reliable, right?
Well, yeah.
But
Reliable.
now, if we could go back and look at your diary of your trip,
That's true.
I know you messed with it pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
And then when you weren't messing with it, you were driving it with your seat with foam stuck in your bottom of your seat.
Yeah.
Because every time it made a cough or you hit a bump that you thought might be a noise, you went, "Oh, it's catastrophic."
Well, that's active driving.
Right. But if you had a Miata, you'd think, I can drive this over the bumps. Nothing's going to fall off.
You wouldn't think twice.
Running. Yeah. But somehow you can drive your Fiat over a pothole, and all of a sudden now you need a new camshaft.
Well, yes. And so, but I think that there's a trade-off, because I can make that same literal analogy to my truck and this GMC. So we drive to Texas every year or thereabouts. I've always taken my Tacoma, and it's just like, it's a slog trip. Like, it's 3 days of like, just fuck it. Okay. But the truck's not very comfortable. That's aspects of it, but it's a 17-year-old truck. And so everything that happens, it's like, oh, is that is, what's that smell? Is the valve cover leaking again or whatever? But this last year we got the GMC and drove the GMC from Texas. The trip was like nothing, because you just worried about it.
Yes.
It's just like, it's fine. And in a way it was good, but the trip went by so quick. And then it made me think, like, well, what have I been doing? Have I been holding out? You know what I mean? Like, I've been holding on to unreliability with some like fucked up notion that the trip is the important part. Well, yeah, but no, I just want to get there.
Yes and no, because I'm going to call you out for telling a little bit of lie, because I know that before you got the GMC, you desperately wanted a Land Rover.
Yeah. And
that's the same case, because I know that you wouldn't feel nearly the same about taking your Land Rover, your Luxo Land Rover, across the country, which you'd be proud of yourself for having. Instead, you took your GMC, which was absolutely unnotable in a parking lot. It was unnotable as you drove it, and it was unnotable because it didn't break down.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I was nervous about the charging system a little bit, but yes, like, the Land Rover have been like, well, yeah, that's an adventure. Does it always have to be an adventure? It turns out it can.
Maybe that's it, because between driving shit bikes and shit cars, the adventure is I might make it.
Yeah. It was just
that's the whole thing. I might make it.
I might make it. Yeah. I mean, I will make it. I mean, if I have to Uber or fly or, pick another form of transportation for the last half, I will make it. But will the car, will my luggage? So
there's some appeal to that. And I think back when I used to drive Jaguars, I love the fact that everybody said, well, those are horrible. And I just want everybody to know that I have the balls to drive it to Mexico.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of,
I will figure it out, and I will prove that everyone was wrong about these.
Yeah. So we're kind of getting to, we're the heart of it, right? Which is,
yes,
it's as much the cool factor as the, hey, look what I found. Or look what I found and look what I got to drive and ride. It runs. Look how ballsy I am that I'm going to actually use this thing,
right,
and not let it sit as a collectible,
right.
And then
this is all people that we make fun of.
Yes,
right.
And then in the inevitable instance where you do have to fix or maintain or scramble, the fact that you're 99% of the time able to overcome that is like, that's fine. You know what I mean? That's why I don't want a GMC. I can't get those things in the GMC, because if something goes wrong in the charging system in the GMC, maybe I brought my laptop. I have to stop at an O'Reilly's to plug in the thing.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so one is this whole discovery about what a horrible person I am about wanting this BMW. The other feature in this is that it's too much money. I think I want it. So then the natural thing is to start to lay track around the house and with your spouse about, hey, there's this thing on the horizon, right? And you don't want to come out and say, I'm going to go ahead and empty the checking account and go get this bike. But I am going to empty the checking account and probably go get that bike. But I want to now socialize the idea, and I want to create momentum.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, because I know there's going to be resistance, and over the years, I know how to kind of play the cards that will result in at least someone saying, I don't give a fuck what you do.
Acquiescence.
Yeah.
The most we can hope for is like,
or, I mean, and it can come all the way around as, I think that would be awesome. You should get that. You know? I don't really care what. I mean, as long as there's a crack in the door, so.
Such a child.
Yeah, totally. So we've been married 31 years, all right? And I'm still going, I do this like my wife doesn't recognize the approach.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Craigslist. Here's how, I don't know how you do it. Here's how I do it. I look at Craigslist, and I see something, and I see this BMW, and I audibly go, oh my God. I make this very obvious remark that something amazing has come upon my horizon.
Yeah, you invite participation.
Yes. Okay. And I'm waiting for her to say, it's like 1,002. What did you see?
What is it?
Oh, it's something I shouldn't have. I know that.
And this guy's asking way too much.
Way too much. But I have to have this. My destiny is dependent on having this. But I shouldn't do it. I don't know, and I'm playing that card. So then I want her to lean in and go, well, are you sure you shouldn't do it? Right. And so, I mean, we've only been through this 185 times, maybe 189 times, but I seem bound and determined to go through this track, with my wife about me buying this motorcycle. And the troubling thing here was that, she's always been keen to it. I keep thinking that what's funny is that between me and you, I think I'm manipulating her into getting this thing, right? And I'm sure she's on the phone right now and going, because he's so stupid, he's thinking he's manipulating me. And she's been playing the other side of it perfectly, every single time. But anyway, in this case, she goes, life is too short. You certainly don't want to have wanted that motorcycle 2 years from now and not had it.
Yeah.
So what happened, Andy, is that she called my bluff. I mean, I wasn't even ready. I was working up to the maybe, and she just said yes.
And you're like, you kind of have to.
I'm paralyzed. I'm paralyzed with fear. I don't know how to do that.
Well, it is expensive. And so
how does it work for you?
Well, same-ish, but I say mine is a little bit more like incredulous at this guy. This guy's an idiot. He thinks he's going to get $5,000 for that. Fuck. 4,500 maybe. And then she's like, oh my God, like that's even enough. I'm like, yeah, but it's pretty, I mean, like if I'm going to spend 4,500 bucks, like this is probably the best way to get that thing for the, for 45 is way, you're right. Yeah. 5 is dumb, but 45, why? Because it has the exhaust or whatever. He's upgraded or whatever. And that, I mean, shit, that's a $300. I mean, it's like, I feel like my best shot is to get her on board with the ridiculousness of the other person.
Yes.
Yeah. Or, and this worked for the Fiat. And
it's incremental, because what you're doing, you're saying, I'm not dumb enough to spend $5,000.
Yeah, like some other dipshit. If some other dipshit, good on.
But you're creating the case that 4,500 is genius.
Yeah, because I know these things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck. Well, the Fiat was a different approach, the 128, in that I didn't ever show her the one I bought, or the one this is after the case, but the one I wanted to buy or the one I bought, because it looked like shit. It was rust. I mean, like the stuff that we see is like, that's fine, whatever, who cares? But if I had shown her that picture, she wouldn't have gotten it. So
Right.
I showed her the Pinterest versions of
Yes.
cute little aqua 128 with the white rims and all this, and she's like, "Oh, that's cute." I'm like, "Isn't
Mhm.
it? Like, do you like the blue?" Yeah. So what do you think about white? Wow, white would be cute. And I'm like, yeah, or even a red. Yeah, red would be good. Yeah, red. So you like the red 128, huh? Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, because I have a 128 that's yellow. You know what I mean? Or like, or because I found one. There, you never find them. You
Yeah.
never find them. And he only wants 1,200.
Why do you think it isn't that obvious to your wife? Because obviously to me, as you're telling me the story, I know exactly where this is going, and I see each incremental step that you take as hilariously, ingenuous, disingenuous,
Well,
because this is all just a bunch of stuff that you're laying out there, and I know it partially convinces you, but but anyway, that's how you do it, right?
yeah. Well,
Okay, all right.
mine is I I genuinely believe that I'm a manipulative piece of shit. Or rather,
Yeah.
I have the potential to be a manipulative piece of shit. Like, and I know
You
what's,
know,
the right thing to do, and I'm not going to blow all the money on shit, but
No,
like,
Andy, I think you are a manipulative piece of shit. Completely, Andy. I don't think you're on the verge of it. I think
yeah,
you're way over the edge of it.
yeah, I'm in that respect, I am a child. Like, I'm just trying to get my mom to buy this, like, instead of the one CD that she'll buy me at the store, the one record, I want two. And so, hey, I I I've had this conversation about CDs and records, which was like, yeah, I don't know. It's dumb to buy both, Mom. It's dumb, but I don't know, man. I just feel like you can't have one without the other, and that's dumb. Man, this store sucks. Why would they put us in a position
Yeah.
so that we had to buy? I guess we just have to buy both.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
but I genuinely believe it. I'm just trying to lay it out in the way that makes sense for everybody.
I know. I know.
Anyway.
Okay. So anyway, I was thrown a curve in this case because I went ahead and started to lay the track, just like you do so well. And before we even got started,
She was in.
she was in.
Oh
And not
man,
just fake. She wasn't calling my bluff just to call my bluff. She just said, "Yeah, I'm in."
lucky you.
And I just walked outside and had nothing to do or say.
You got nothing to think about other than
Yeah.
to
It's like,
pull the trigger.
So, okay, so here's the final chapter in this whole thing. This reveals just, my spiritual depravity. So this morning I'm thinking I'm going to have to decide what to do about that. And just as a side note, I'm feeling a little bit lightheaded because I walked into a gun store yesterday and bought a handgun and impulse purchase. And I live in a place in America where you can do that, which is
Yeah.
probably going to, bring shouts of horror from anywhere else. But I wanted to buy anyway. So I'm 500 short, because I blew 500 yesterday. So I'm just feeling like that came out, off the skin on my bottom. And now I got to go back and get the 5 for the BMW and go up and get it. And then of course, what I'm going to do is take a last look at Craigslist to see if there's anything else that could possibly save me from this,
This thing you've somehow committed yourself to.
this thing I so desperately want to do.
Yeah.
And a 1974 Bultaco Alpina 250 sitting in a guy's garage with some parts next to it. It looked really all together there, and it had been hosed off recently, $700.
Oh,
So I'm thinking, oh, I'm almost relieved that this came across because like 700, I'll
that's
do that.
easier.
I'll
That's
do that.
easier.
I'm calling the guy right now. And plus, who doesn't want a Bultaco Alpina? Even though I've got bikes that are similar to that for what it does, but a $700 Alpina,
Is this
you
the
just,
blue one?
yeah, you see it. You
Yeah,
see
it's
it there in
really cute.
Tucson.
Yeah,
It is pretty clean for a $700 LP. I mean, I paid $700 for parts that were near each other in a field before.
yeah,
Like that Ducati piece of shit project we bought up when we were in up in
yeah,
Portland that I bought.
yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Anyway, this looks like totally. So of course I get the guy on the phone, and it's been sold.
Of course.
It's 15 hours on Craigslist. I'm calling it 14 hours in. It's been sold.
Damn.
And now I feel like I felt like I was in hell.
Your whole world's upside down now.
And then it opened up and there was a crack to sneak out of hell and only spend $700 and make myself
Yeah.
more happy than I would have been with the BMW shit bike. I can now get the Bultaco Alpina. And I immediately, I called the guy, I left a message, and then what any good nut like us does, while I'm waiting for him to call me back, I'm Googling to find out, does that have a lighting coil? Because I want to put a light on it. I'm already getting all the stuff for it.
You're
right?
already building it, yeah.
I've got to get a piston and a ring for that. I'm going to get over, I'm kind of already, which is the greatest joy in the world, is finding shit for your shit. And I'm already down that road. He calls me back, it's sold. And so, Andy, here I am today. I don't have the courage to buy the BMW. I didn't get to have the Bultaco.
Yeah.
Bought a handgun on the side.
That's a dangerous place.
And I'm not sure how to make myself happy.
Well, and what's worse is you've already budgeted and gotten used to the fact of 5K. Mm-hmm. And what the only thing has changed is you see the flaw in spending that 5K on the BMW.
Yeah.
And you've potentially saved yourself from having to spend that money and having to spend that money.
That's right. I nearly created a situation where I had to spend it.
Yeah. And then you were going to get the Bultaco, but the Bultaco went away. But now you're like, well, did I talk myself into being reasonable about the BMW, or do I still have to buy it?
Yes.
Do you still have to buy it?
I don't have to buy it. Well, obviously I'm conflicted. That's why I'm calling.
Yeah.
So in the end, I'm going to ask you to solve the question, solve the problem for me, but just not quite yet.
Okay.
Because one of the things that happens here is that I've inadvertently negotiated a $5,000 credit.
Yes.
Right? That's laying out there. I don't want to leave that on the table.
Yeah, how can you parlay that into something that you are happy with or excited about or whatever?
That's right.
Yeah, that's tricky.
So I don't want to leave it out there. I don't want to have gone to all the trouble, and then not have it, not take advantage of what we have going here. So I guess in the end, Andy, my question to you is really about the universe. According to what you know and here's the question. According to what you know of life, and what Oprah knows about the laws of attraction and the powers of the universe.
Yeah.
What can you see happening to me?
Well, I can see you going to get this 71 OSA 250. That's 2,500.
I passed on that one because I want an OSA stiletto. I want a different.
Okay. So
look, wait, just quickly, just look up OSA stiletto.
Yes. Oh yeah.
That's the one you want.
Yeah, that's cutie.
Yeah, but I guess I could take the OSA Pioneer and cut it up and do custom bodywork for it.
Not for 2,500.
But not for 2,500.
Well, okay. So here's where I land on that exact same situation
okay.
You know what I mean?
All
the
right.
Same parameters that I find myself in is, hey, here's an idea, X. Go do or buy or perform some act, thing, good, motorcycle that I don't need, that would probably end up being a pain in the ass, and not provide the value for the money that it would cost. And then I know that after the fact, I might, or after the fact, I will likely regret having done the thing. But I feel like, in that moment, I've talked myself into it. I've convinced someone through one form of manipulation or another that that's the right thing to do, and it's a logical thing to do. And then the universe throws me lifelines and says, "Hey, man, you can abort. Here's a $700 Bultaco that'll scratch that itch that you're, here's a. How
do you know if it's the universe throwing you a lifeline?
I don't.
Or is it Satan trying to fuck you out of it? How do you know?
So you don't, and I think that's the struggle of man. We've gotten down to the struggle of humanity.
I do not like that answer. I want to know how to recognize the difference between good and evil when it comes to acquiring what it is you really want.
And so inevitably, I just blast right through that lifeline. No thanks. I appreciate it, and it's if I can, grab that lifeline without and do the thing
Mm-hmm.
If I can get the Bull Taco and the BMW, that's cool. I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
and inevitably I end up going ahead, or usually when I go ahead and do that thing that I have an inkling idea that I shouldn't do, and for which I've been given 2 or 3 opportunities to bail on,
Mm-hmm.
um, I always regret it. And in retrospect, I'm always like, damn, I wished I had, or wished I hadn't
Yep.
done. So are you going to
Yep.
get the BMW or not?
Not yet. Not today.
Not today. Hey, all we have is today.
You know, I've played that card before too.
Like, you know what? I'm just not going to drink today. I'm just
Yeah.
not going to buy that BMW today.
Today.
And that's fine.
Yeah. Well, and maybe this is probably another conversation too later, because as I'm thinking about shooting $5,000, we should talk next time, is that you're going to spend $5,000 on your habit.
Yeah.
You know, and you can either plan to do it or whatever, but you're going to do it. Because if I look out in the driveway, I need a timing gear set for my Volvo.
Yeah.
I need a gasket set for this. I should put tires on this or whatever. And if I just would go through and fix all my half running junk, it may be possible that I don't need new junk.
Yeah. We're going
But
to talk about
somehow,
money. Yes.
yeah, but somehow new junk is just so appealing.
Well, what's going to happen is that you're finally going to convince yourself that the BMW is necessary. And you're
Mhm.
going to call the guy, and you're going to get you're going to get that cash, and you're going to have it in your hand, and you're going to call the guy, and you're going to get ready, and the guy's going to have sold it.
It's going to be gone.
And then you need to find another one, and there's going to be one in Idaho for $7,000,
and you're just going to
and you're just going to have to do it.
That's exactly how it works. It's exactly how it works. Andy, the next time I had an idea is that I want to talk about the times when I think of killing you.
Wait, plural?
Yeah.
Like this is a recurring.
Yeah. This is a conversation that we might enjoy. The times that I think of killing you.
Is there a financial gain?
We're going to discuss it completely fresh, completely new when we're ready to do another recording.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
All right. So there you have it, part 1. I hope you paid attention. The seeds have been planted and more will be revealed. Spoiler though, Blaine hasn't killed me yet. You can check out Hole in the Head Moto on Facebook and Instagram. Please do, just search Hole in the Head Moto. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next one.